All right, everybody, welcome back to the YS channel. So today we're going to do like a quadruple feature here. And what I mean by that is we're going to review all the original Dragon Ball movies from the Dragon Ball anime franchise. So that includes basically the first three, which is Dragon Ball and the Blood Rubies, Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle, Mystical Adventure, and then kind of the rebooted retelling, which is called Dragon Ball Path to Power. So we're going to discuss all these movies here and, pretty much one go. So with that said, we're going to start with the first one, which came out in 1986 and simply called, The Blood Rubies, or Dragon Ball Curse of the Blood Rubies. Stand corrected. Or in Japan, the Richie Suton. Which again, take that for what it's worth here. So anyhow, the thing with the first three Dragon Ball movies, this is something people need to understand, is they're all alternate retellings of the Dragon Ball franchise, and they were released in theaters, usually as part of some kind of triple feature with other TOEI anime franchises at that point. So they're meant to promote toys, the anime, the mangas. So all 3Ds are roughly 45 minutes in length, give or take. Again, they're really just feature-length episodes. However, they do have alternate retellings of events, and then they're released to coincide with specific arcs and the anime. So again, with the Curse of the Blood Rupees, it retells the story of how Goku meets Bulma, which again, that's the catalyst for the entire Dragon Ball franchise, right? And then you have like your main antagonists, which are the grunts or the peons of the evil king Gurumes, which he's like this fat fucking glutton, this character. More on him later. Anyhow, he has two goons named Bongo and Pasta. And basically they take the place of the Pilaf gang. For those of you who follow the original Dragon Ball franchise, these characters take place of the Pilaf gang. Pretty much they just replace that role and purpose of them. So anyhow, Cameron, let you take it away a little bit here with this movie.
Goku, a young monkey-tailed boy with a special strength, was living alone in the wilderness of Mount Pazu. While he was catching a giant fish, a blue-haired teenage girl named Bulma, who is also searching for the Dragon Balls with the help of a device called Dragon Radar, runs into Goku. Thinking Bulma is a monster, Goku prepares to attack her, but Bulma convinces him that she is a human. After learning that Bulma is a girl, Goku tells her that his grandpa gave him a Dragon Ball before he died. Pasta and Bongo arrive, Goku's home, and steal his Dragon Ball, leaving a gold coin in his place. They flee in their fighter jet, but are defeated by Goku with his power pole.
Yeah. So again, this movie is just alternate retelling of the original Dragon Ball arc. So some more background at the start of the movie. Pasta or Bongo, they're fucking up like the peasants in the kingdom, the village kingdom. Where King Gurumes lives. He's corrupted by these rubies. So in this movie he's portrayed by as like a fucking fat slob character who's evil, but he's really just fat corrupted. Anyhow, the farmer gets fucked up and his daughter runs to seek help. Her name is Pansy. Anyhow, she ends up meeting up with Goku, Bulma. And then the thing is with these movies, when they do alternate retellings, they also change the order of when they meet key characters. So like in this one, they run into Oolong, who's like the pig that can change shape. And then they run into Yamcha, the desert bandit. And then pretty much near the end of the movie, they'll run into Master Roshi. And then that's how they form that initial gang. Again, it's kind of like a reverse order of how these characters are met up in the original story. Where it's, it just changes up the whole fucking sequence. Anyhow, again, they have their meeting up and like an abridged version of that. Goku fights Yamcha. And then, of course, has the face-off with fucking Oolong and they keep running into these goons, right? Again, they take the place of the Pilaf gang here, take the fucking Dragon Balls. However, the movie does kind of take turning point when they do eventually encounter Master Roshi. They find his island, and then they meet up with Bongo and Pasta once again. And then Roshi kind of tries to fuck him up with his super full power Kamehameha thing that he does. So anyhow, with this movie, one thing leads to another. They eventually end up fighting the goons at the castle. And then, King Gurumis transforms into a more grotesque, like, slob monster thing. And then he's eventually defeated, and he's broken free of the power these rubies have. And he gets restored back to normal. And then, basically, Shinron is summoned, because by this point in the movie, all the Dragon Balls are gathered. Shonen is summoned. He restores the kingdom back to how it was, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And then, the movie ends with Yamcha and Bulma deciding to become boyfriend girlfriend. And then he's gonna run off to Master Roshi's island that's training martial arts.
Probably in the first Dragon Ball movie, in fact, for the first 3 Dragon Ball movies, my opinion does serve the original series well, but at the same time, you can tell Dragon Ball was not yet as popular as it became, and had a lower budget compared to other animes at the time. Like gradually over time, the animation quality for the Dragon Ball movies up into the Dragon Ball Z movies in the 90s gradually improved to the point like, my God, like they put this much effort into like basically a glorified episode. Imagine what they could have done with a feature-length movie.
Yeah, I agree with you, Cameron. So you gotta keep in mind when this movie was released, it's not meant to be like an A movie. Like if it was like a Studio Ghibli movie or Ghibli movie, it would have been feature length, like an hour and a half, 2 hour long movie with like really beautiful animation. With that said, the animation's not terrible. In any of the 3 movies, it's not. It's just slightly better than what you would find in a regular episode that would have aired on TV. So anyhow, the next movie, in our 4-movie review here, is, in my opinion, out of the original ones, probably the best. It's called Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle. So this one has like a totally original story, whereas the other one, they just copy and paste the Pilaf gang, blah 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 blah, and then they kind of try to make an original story, kind of. So this takes place roughly where, and if you were following the anime, where Goku arrives at Master Roshi's island to get trained in the style of the Turtle Hermit. Krillin's introduced. And in this movie, like in the anime, Roshi would have all these fucking bizarre errands, like fucking carrying milk crates up mountains and shit. So this one, instead of doing all that, to be taught all of his secret techniques, he gives him the task of rescuing a sleeping princess. And he tells him the legend of the Devil's Castle and all that. And he's like, bring her back and I'll teach you, my martial arts. Which, of course, knowing Master Roshi, being an illustrious pervert that he is.
Yes.
You can only imagine what he wants to do with a sleeping woman, which, in the previous movie, the Blood Rubies, there's a bizarre scene in that where Oolong transforms into Bulma. And then Oolong asks Bulma seduces Master Roshi for his help. like shows them, flashes of her breast, and I'm like if they were to remake this movie today, they probably wouldn't do that, considering she's supposed to be like 16 or something at that time. But that's Japan for you, anyhow. So Master Roshi's a pervert. That's the whole point of that tangent. So he sends off Goku and Krillin to Devil's Castle, and then of course, Bulma, Yamcha arrive at the island, and Roshi's like, "I sent them off," and they go chase after him. That's pretty much where hijinks start off. So one thing leads to another with this movie. They get to the Devil's Castle, and the devil is actually named Lucifer in this movie. And the thing with this one, especially for an early Dragon Ball movie, it had actually pretty well done, fight choreography, fight scenes when they're in the castle fighting all the goons and Lucifer and all that. And it turns out the sleeping princess isn't really a real person after all. It's just like a diamond that kind of just powers up the place. So that's one of those things where, it's no sleeping princess in that one. It's the diamond named the sleeping princess.
Oh, that is weird. Well, like you said, this movie of the original three Dragon Ball movies, the Dragon Ball continuum of movies, this is a completely original story. Because usually what they did with Dragon Ball movies, this included Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, is each movie they made was usually recapping a saga or past events.
It does tell pretty much the best story out of the three original movies.
Mm-hmm.
There's even a sequence when they get to the castle, right? The Dragon Ball gang is all kind of captured. And Goku turns into the giant ape, which would later be known as the Ozuru, frees him from the castle. And then, one thing leads to another. And then Lucifer, he needs the giant, he needs that diamond, the sleeping princess, is what it's called, to power up like this laser cannon, like his super weapon. And then, just in the nick of time, Goku is able to he fires off his first Kamehameha wave in this movie, and he ends up destroying the cannon, and ends up having the whole Devil's Castle collapse onto itself, saving the day, and then, and they all reunite and blah, blah, blah. Now, another thing about this movie is Master Roshi is not the only one that wants the sleeping princess. So again, he thinks it's an actual woman. However, the character known as Launch, which, for those of you unfamiliar with this shit, she's kind of an obscure character now. She's like that blue-haired blonde lady. Like when she sneezes, she goes from this petite, friendly blue-haired lady to like this fucking blonde badass when she sneezes. So she has a good half and a bad half when she sneezes. So her bad half is the one plotting to steal the diamond for herself. So, and then she's interwoven into the plot and the fights of the movie, and she gets caught up with them all. And as the movie ends, Goku and Krillin, in order to cheat Master Roshi's requirement to bring back the sleeping princess, they just bring her back. Master Roshi's like, oh man, he fucking he brought me back a good one. And he doesn't know right away that it's not the real sleeping princess.
Right.
So a little funny thing with this movie is pretty much just at the end of the movie, they get Launch or whatever, sneezes, turns into her bad self, and starts shooting up fucking Master Roshi's house. Because that's when he realizes they didn't bring back an actual sleeping princess. They just brought back some psycho lady. Starts shooting at Goku, Krillin, and Roshi. And then she sneezes again. And then turns back to her friendly side. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Can I stay? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then the movie pretty much ends with that. Out of all the three original movies here, you had to pick one. If I would recommend people to pick one to watch, this would be the one, two I would tell them. So no, we're gonna just carry on to the next one here, which is known as Dragon Ball Mystical Adventure. So we've been harping about is what do you call it? Alternate retellings. And this movie is if your introduction to the series was this movie, and then you watch the actual anime, mine's gonna be fucked a little bit here. So Dragon Ball Mystical Adventure. This is supposed to coincide in the anime right around the time where Master Roshi's training Goku and Krillin to enter the martial arts tournament for the first time. Now, this movie was released in like 88, 89. And it was the last one before it became known as Dragon Ball Z. So this one is going to take place in a fictional country known as Mifan. And Chatsu, the little fucking midget white dude that's always a Tien Shinhan, he's the emperor of Mifan. All right. And then in this one, Tien is like his bodyguard. And then the Crane Hermit, which is like Master Roshi's rival in the series, he's like an advisor to Chatsu or whatever. You know, he's secretly plotting to overthrow him, have him assassinated. So he's that. I mean, Goku, Krillin, and Master Roshi are the same as they've been. You know, like they don't change up that dynamic. And the same thing with like Yamcha and Bulma. You know, they still play the same roles they always do. But this one, you get characters like General Blue from the Red Ribbon Army, and he's kind of like under the employ of Chatsu, and he still gets killed by mercenary Tao, which in this movie he is like he's part of the entourage that serves the Emperor. Instead of being like in the original franchise, he was what you call it? He was a mercenary hired by the Red Ribbon Army to kill Goku.
Mm-hmm.
So in this one, kind of the same thing still kind of happens. Characters, they take on different roles, even though the same thing sort of happened. General Blue is killed by Tao, or Tao Pai Pai, as he's often known. And actually in the same way as it happens in the original anime, like he sticks out his tongue and fucking stabs him in the temple. You know, but in this movie, you know, you got characters from the Red Ribbon Army. They serve as people, again, who are kind of employed by Emperor Chatsu or whatever. And they all meet their demise and blah, blah, blah. And then the Crane Hermit ends up having mercenary Tao try to take out Goku. Because during the movie, they actually staged the martial arts tournament while the conspiracy to have Chatsu killed was going on as well. And then, you know, Goku, like, he's fighting Tao, and basically Tao sends him flying away with the Dodon Ray or whatever. And then Goku ends up at Korin's tower. And then Korin gives him like a little sensu bean to like heal him up and fuck up Tao. However, part of their plan is they need the Dragon Balls. And they realize Goku had a Dragon Ball when they fucking flung him away. So he does a badass thing where he breaks out the little column like he did in the anime. He throws that shit and he jumps on and he stirs it. And then in this movie, you know, just like in the original series, you know, he's gonna fucking fly to Korin's tower and fight Goku once again. Yeah. However, he's kind of humorously interrupted by a character known as Arale, who is a never Toriyama creation from the franchise called Dr. Slump, which takes place in the same universe as Dragon Ball. So she teams up with Goku, and they end up killing Tao. Pretty much the same way he was killed in the original anime. In the original anime, he throws a grenade, Goku kicks it back at him, blows him to bits. And this one, he he throws out the like little capsule vehicle, fires a missile, and they fling the missile back out and blow him to bits. So a lot of things happen the same way they did, but it's like in a different order and it's a different atmosphere. Because Goku intervenes in the fight when Tao kills. So you have like fuck man, I forget their names, but like there's two like Indian characters in the movie or in the franchise. And Tao kills the father, and then the little kid he's about to kill, and Goku's like, no, and blah blah blah. Anyhow, during all this whole sequence of events, it's made known to Chatsu that he's gonna be overthrown and killed. And then he's like, what the fuck? Because the whole time he's looking for a doll named Ran, which is like important to him, and it turns out Tien took it or whatever. And then basically everything culminates with the finale where basically Tien is instructed by his master to kill Chatsu. He refuses to do so because he actually develops like a fucking like friendship bond with him or whatever. And his master's telling him to do it, and he refuses to. So his master tries to kill them both, and then he ends up, blasting an attack back at him. And that's pretty much how the movie ends. So anyhow, this leads us to the final movie of this review. That is called Dragon Ball Path to Power. So this one, the main difference between this one and the three we just reviewed and discussed, this is actually a legitimate feature-length movie. As it clocks in around an hour, 20 minutes or so. And out of all of them, this is by far the best animated.
Yes, because when the Path to Power was released, it came out after Dragon Ball GT had ended, and they basically adopted the Dragon Ball GT art style and gave it the cinematic look, and that's why this movie is the best animated movie of the whole franchise up to this point.
Yeah, so part of that is also Studio Ghibli helped produce the movie. I don't quote me on how much they were able to help do it.
I didn't know that.
To an extent.
Yeah.
Like, I think they helped supervise some of the animation sequences or whatever. But I mean, it's still a Toei production. But Studio Ghibli did kind of help with it to like an extent. But like, don't quote me on how much they did, But it helps. Out of the four, this is by far the best animated. Up until we get like Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. As far as animation quality, I mean, some of the Z movies had some nice looking animation, like Broly or whatever, but this is by far the best animated one. Very fluid and crisp animation. Now, it does carry the trope these other movies have, is the never alternate retelling of the Dragon Ball franchise. Now, this one is a literal reboot of the Dragon Ball franchise to an extent. It retells the story of Goku meeting Bulma and Yamcha, Master Roshi. However, the Pilaf gang is removed entirely from this. Instead, it makes the Red Ribbon Army the antagonist in this movie. So, again, Dragon Ball's still important. They're looking for the Dragon Balls. They want real power, blah, 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 blah. All the other little shenanigans. Now, the characters are met up in different orders. However, now you have Red Ribbon Army characters thrown in the mix here. So, pretty much with this movie, Goku befriends an android. It looks like Frankenstein is Android 8, or as he likes to call him, Aider. This also happened in the original anime. But in this one, he gets killed while he's fighting the Red Ribbon Army. Android 8 doesn't want to kill things. He's actually a friendly android. So he gets killed in the fray. Goku rages out. And he fires a Kamehameha, defeats the final boss of the movie. That kind of shit. But again, it's like a condensed retelling of the original Dragon Ball story, all the way through the Red Ribbon arc. But again, it mixes up things, kind of tells its little own story, kind of. However, again, I can't remark enough about how amazing the animation is. It is really well done. Thank you for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Dragon Ball Daima will come out this week, or depending on how fast we edit it, might already be out by the time we release these reviews. Please support all the official releases of the new game. Sparking Zero's coming out soon too as well. Yeah, wasting money on that. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball, watch these movies if you have it. They're worth it if you're a Dragon Ball fan. If you're not, you're like a casual, you can skip these. But with that said, again, thank you for supporting this channel. Until next time, later.
Very cool.